We're back. Thanks for staying with us. Joined now by Mr. Mike Manahan. He's the author of a book called Secrets to Raising Capital. He literally wrote the book. Mike, welcome back to the program.
Well, thanks, Don. As always, a pleasure being with you.
Well, you have such a wide and varied background in finance. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I've spent probably the last 30 years in the world of finance and accounting. A lot of that was as an independent consultant, and a lot of my consulting work involved companies that were trying to raise capital, either private equity, going public, raising money to do an acquisition, borrowing money from the banks. And I probably helped at least 100 companies raise capital in one form or another, raised somewhere in the neighborhood of around $250 million for companies, either individually or as part of a team and part of a group. And so that's really my history. But in addition to that, I also about 15 years ago, I started teaching, and I'm also a professor of finance and accounting at California State University, Dominguez Hills.
That's fantastic. Now, I know your audience is in great demand when people are looking for money. What do you suppose are the three biggest mistakes that small companies make?
Well, there's so many mistakes they make, but certainly one of them is underestimating the time it takes. Raising money it's not, whip together a business plan and a deck and fire it off to a bunch of investment bankers or private equity guys, and they write you a check. It is a long process. So underestimating the time. The second thing is not understanding the money raising process. And that is part of the reason why I wrote the book, Secrets to Raising Capital. I don't know if you can see it here, but there it is. Secrets to Raising Capital.
Down.
Oh, I'm holding it upside down. Oh, well, there you go. Secrets to Raising Capital. Anyway, you can look at it on my website, professormanahan.com. But there is a process. There's certain steps you have to take. And if you don't take the right steps, you just simply won't raise the money, or it'll take much longer than necessary. And finally, the third, I think, mistake that people make is they look internally at their own company, not recognizing that when you're trying to raise money, you're competing against every other company that's trying to raise money. So it doesn't matter how good you look, it's how good do you look in comparison to the options that a money guy has to deploy his capital, his or her capital. It's not just about you. You might have a very nice business and it might make money, but if there's a better deal on the table, the money will flow to the better deal.
That's very true what you say, because it's basically a market of limited opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. There's only so much money to go around, and yet there's, I don't know, tens of thousands of businesses looking for that capital. And the capital will flow typically towards not only the companies in which I call them the money guys have the most confidence, but also those businesses on which the money guys can expect the best return.
Well, Mike, you and I have known each other almost 25 years. We both started in this business when we were about 13. But what are some of the great success stories that you've noticed over the years?
Well, I guess I'd have to ask success in kind of what area. And I'll give you an example of what I think is a great success. And I took on a company that was in the software development phase, medical software, and they just didn't present well. So we went through a whole process. We rewrote their business plan. We rewrote their deck. We did financial projections. When I say we, I was working with people at the company to do this, but I was the outsider, the consultant. After we finished that process, we then took them on a road show to New York. We were able to get the interest of one of the major players on Wall Street, and they did a $70 million private offering for that company. And they would not have got that money had we packaged it correctly. And I'll put a feather in my cap for that, because I was the external consultant telling the people inside the company what they needed to do and helping them, by the way, in the areas where they were deficient.
Well, what motivated you to put all your knowledge and expertise into a book?
You know, part of it is because I've talked to so many people who are trying to raise capital, and invariably they ask the same questions, and invariably they have the same knowledge gaps. And so, you know, I thought, look, rather than me spending time one-on-one with those people, read my book. Maybe you don't need to hire me. You know, I cost money. I'm not cheap. Maybe you don't need to hire me. Maybe if you just have the roadmap, you can do a lot of it yourself and save dollars and also be doing it properly. So that really was the impetus, you know, for me. And then, by the way, if you do get to the stage where you've read my book, you've done as much as you can, when you come to me, you're going to be better prepared. It's going to cost you less money, and what we do together is going to be more effective.
This is the man who wrote the book, Secrets to Raising Capital, Mike Manahan. Mike, always a pleasure having you on the program. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thanks, Don. Appreciate it very much.